So we've talked about mindset, vision, niche, picking that. And then number 4 is to build a signature service offer. So once you figure out what you're going to offer or what niche you're going to operate in, then you can start to build out the offer. And there's a few key elements that you can do. These are 3 keys that make up what I would say a signature offer. You need to have a compelling promise, which I'll talk about. You need to have a presentation, like being able to deliver be able to communicate the offer. And then you need to know how to price it, which is always a challenge. And we've, had training available at the university on this. And so we'll talk about that in a moment. But here are the 3 elements. So the first one is promise. So this is where you solve a specific pain point. Always remember that as a freelancer, you're in the business of solving problems and creating solutions for your client. Your client, we use the example of creating social media graphics. The problem they have is they don't have time to do it, and they're not really good at it, and that's a pain point for them. The solution you provide is that you are good at it, and you do it a lot for similar clients, and you can take that off their plate and be the solution that they are looking for. So then they can go do other things as well. So a promise involves 2 things. It involves addressing what specific pain points or challenges will your specific freelance offer address. That is the problem that you solve. And then the second part is what transformation will take place in your clients' lives after they've worked with you. What will be better about their lives? What will be better about their business? That's the problem, and that's the outcome. And when you know those really well, that becomes the foundation for every service you offer, and even the foundation for how you articulate what you do. So you want to come up with the problems that your audience has currently and the outcome that they will achieve after working with you. And that becomes sort of copywriting 101. You take this and you package it up into copy you put in LinkedIn and on your website and in social media that demonstrate the solutions that you provide with your freelance service. So an example of this is just a headline from Kari & Company. Are you ready to have someone else run the back end of your business so you can stay in your zone of genius? That is a really good headline because it's tapping into a problem that many business owners have, is a poorly run back end business. Their back end is on life support, and they're spending too much time on it, so they're not able to focus on some of the core business tasks they need to do. So that's a great example of articulating that promise in the form of a question. The second ingredient is the presentation. So this is where you're actually communicating and describing what you do and your services. So presentation is, what are those specific features of your service? So what do you offer? If you have a social media package or social media template package, what's involved in that? Do you create a minimum of 25 templates for a client per month? Or do you have different degrees of that? And then are there editing and revisions allowed? How does it all work? Do you upload it for them? Do you also post their social media content? What's included in it? You want to just nail that down. What are the key benefits of these core features of your services? Okay, so those are key questions that you ask so that you can clearly articulate what you're offering. So you got your features and then the benefits, how they solve the problem. I offer social media template services so that you can be freed up to focus on other priorities, so that you can get your head and your mind out of your social platforms because they are time consuming. So an example, proofreading. These are all the tasks that make up what you might do. Correct grammar and spelling. You may use some AI tools as well. Consistency of capitalization and hyphenization. Correct word usage, repeated or missing words. And then the benefits, your content will shine. You'll present as a credible professional. You won't stress over misplaced commas and grammar mistakes. You'll be able to spend more time creating brilliant content. So those are the benefits. So when you can bring those two together, that's how you communicate what you offer on your website. The challenge that we face as freelancers sometimes, or what trips us up, is we just tell people what we do. We don't tell how it will benefit them. And that's really what they want. They want you to solve their problems. So important. And then the third ingredient is pricing. This is where you determine the cost and the format, how you're going to package up your particular services. And your pricing is always based on two things. It's based on what you're worth, your level of experience, your training, your knowledge base, your specialization, how focused your niche is, and even your mindset that you believe that you're actually worth this amount, that you're drawing on all your years of experience to offer high value freelance services in your area, in your niche. And then what your audience will pay. This is where you look at other competitors. You don't have to charge exactly what they charge, but it gives you a baseline of, on average, what people are charging. You could look at related job postings to see what the job is being bid on at, or what the pricing looks like, and then even being in tune with your market, what the market can bear. And so when you offer a niche service, you will always be able to charge typically a bit more. And so you want to base your pricing on what you're worth and what your audience will pay. So the pricing question is, how will you determine your pricing for your specific offer? And then what pricing structure will cater to your audience needs? Is it project-based pricing, where it's just a one-off project, a writing project? Is it retainer, where you are selling services on a month-in, month-out basis? Or is it hourly, where you're selling blocks of hourly work? It still might be like consistent revenue, but they're buying like sort of monthly blocks of 20 hours, 30 hours, depending on the type of service that you're offering. All right, so we could talk a lot more about pricing, and that we could do a whole workshop just on that topic. But for action number 4, or exercise number 4, you want to build a list of problems that you help clients solve. And then you want to write the benefits, the outcomes that your services will provide, because that becomes the basis and the structure for how you will present that offer. And then take the Crafting Your Freelance Offer course. It's a terrific one that breaks down like the 5 Ps of crafting your ideal freelance offer. So definitely make note of that course if you haven't taken it.